I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-Minute Convos, where I help you create a brand of your own unique real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Austin Peek. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful night?
Fantastic.
It was a great pleasure to connect with you, Austin. What part of the world are you in right now?
I am in Jacksonville, Florida.
All right. So it's still warm on your side, yeah?
Yeah, almost as warm as where you're at, right?
Well, that's great. Yeah, well, not as warm. Like, you still get the cold breeze from New York come down your side, right? So it's like an air-conditioned sunlight, right?
Yeah, we're Fahrenheit. We're like 50 degrees right now.
Oh, yeah, we won't get down there.
Right.
That's wonderful. Well, do tell us which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time.
Which one of my talents?
Yeah.
Would you? I guess if you're just asking what I'm good at.
Well, it's funny how I get the reaction to this question. It amazes me. Like, how many talents do you have?
Unlimited, I would think.
Unlimited. Love it. All right. What's 3 of your talents?
3 of my talents. One is hard work. I
Right.
would say for sure. I started my own company a couple years ago doing commercial real estate, and now started my own podcast. So I've been doing that for the last couple months. So that's been fun. Another one is probably like outsourcing. I've got a team of virtual assistants that help me in the Philippines, help me grow my business, my commercial real estate business, as well as the podcast.
Right.
And third one would probably be just marketing, I would think, in general, just trying to think outside the box. I don't think people make it too complex. I just think you have to be different. So I always try to do things that are a little bit different whenever I'm trying to market in this space.
Yeah. So I think the 2 talents out of the 3 are responsible for us connecting at this particular time, which is your marketing and your hard work, which ties to LinkedIn and your podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think you're the one to message me on it. So you're out there hard working as well, obviously.
Exactly, you caught on to my thingy. Yeah, that's it.
Right.
So we're able to cross paths, which is pretty fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's funny. I was talking to someone the other day back in high school. I would have never thought. I mean, I always dreamed of having my own company, but to actually employ people on literally the opposite side of the world to help me grow my business in the Philippines, I would have never thought that. And actually, all that came about by listening to podcasts. I would listen to entrepreneurship podcasts, and that would inspire me to go ahead and try different things that I would hear entrepreneurs try. So
yeah, and I think we're running parallel. The same with me. I mean, my editors, my workers are in the Philippines that helped last year. This year, I only have one person that's running with the team from the Philippines. But yeah, definitely they got us off. And I mean, like, the podcasting and listening to podcasts is what opened that world, right? 99 Designs, and then you go to Fiverr, and then before you know it, you're friends with some amazing people, right?
Right. Yeah. What inspired you to go ahead and start this podcast?
Ooh, big question. Hey, I'm the podcast on this side here. None of that.
Sorry. Turn it around.
It's a huge question. I definitely can answer in another scenario, but that's a huge question. To give you a one-liner definitely wouldn't do justice, I think.
Right.
Makes sense,
I understand.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. No, man. I commend you for being able to set up this many meetings in a row, because it's difficult enough for me just to do a couple a week. So
yeah, well, I mean, it is what it is. So
right.
do tell us, why will you continue to repeat the skill of being the individual who is marketing, who is outsourcing, and who is the hard worker?
That's the only thing I know. I had 2 parents that they're both lawyers growing up, so we were well off, but they always worked hard, and to me, it's not hard work if you're actually enjoying it. So I mean, I enjoy what I do. When I wasn't enjoying what I was doing with my other company, that's probably for a good year, maybe even more. I was kind of half-ass working. It's just because it just got tiring. I was doing the same thing, repetitive, and then now I finally got the inspiration and found something. I kept thinking, what do I want to do next? And doing the podcast has really inspired me to connect with other types of people instead of my old clients were just all real estate investors. So it's been fun to connect with people who own all different types of businesses and talk to them and try to make the podcast successful.
Love it. Now, the name of the podcast is Millionaire Interviews for those that are listening, right?
Yeah, correct.
So tell us one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years, please, Austin.
Again, I might go back to that hard work and just, I think as I gotten older, basically, I get when I went to college, what I did is actually I shadowed and basically shadowed a lot of guys who were in the commercial real estate industry because I knew I wanted to get in the industry. And what I mean by shadow is like I would email a dude and say, hey, can I follow you around for a couple hours that day and see, what you do to get an idea of what I wanted to do. And by doing that, that kind of slowly, I figured out what the guys who would let me actually shadow them, what the good successful guys would do versus the guys who who weren't successful and necessarily in the real estate industry. And it really was just working hard. And they said that's what you had to do. Getting out of the gate, coming out of college when I was 22 to that 25 range. And then as I gotten a little bit older, I'm 32 right now. I just turned 32. I've slowly tried to work a little bit smarter, and that's when I started hiring virtual assistants and whatnot. So I guess over the last 3 years, I forgot the exact question, but the one thing that's like is basically just trying to work smarter and not as hard, I guess.
Yeah. How does that make you feel knowing that you're the guy that has been working so hard?
I just can't be lazy. I don't know. I don't know if I was born with the work ethic or again seeing my parents do it. Said they'd work hard, but it's because I think they liked it too. So to me, I just wanted. I guess I took one of those analyses that online that tell you your characteristics as a person.
Right.
And I think my number one trait was competition. And so it's just like, I just put some competition in my head. I mean, when I started my real estate company, my old boss, I used to work for a different commercial real estate company, and he said I couldn't do it. And so when he says something like that, that inspires me to like, okay, I'm going to prove him wrong.
Yeah.
So I'd say the competition part is really what's kind of motivated me.
Yeah. I'm very similar where the competition is. It's why I slid in there that I want to be Johnny Dumas's episode count, because it's like you put that out there and I'm competitive. Like I'll wear my feet out to ensure that I do beat him.
Yeah.
No,
and I think that's really smart. And actually, that's part of the reason I wanted to do this too. I like that because I'm the exact same way. I remember I studied him. I took his podcasting course, and I remember he said he did 40 interviews before he even launched. And when he said that, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do even more. So before I even launched my podcast, I had 65 episodes already recorded because I'm like, I want to be even more prepared than he was. Even though he quote unquote thought it was a mistake, to me, it wasn't, because I'm like, okay, I'll just go ahead and get these recordings done. Might as well do this kind of like part-time while I'm still doing my real estate work. Yeah. And then when I come to launch the actual podcast, maybe I can just try different things, marketing, and see what works and what doesn't.
Yeah. A peek into the future, right?
There you go. Pun intended.
Pun intended. Well, suggest to someone out there that's listening, I mean, you did put in the work where you were shadowing guys, right? Let them know and clearly why they should really put in the work.
I mean, if you want, well, here's the one thing I wanted to do before I got out of college is make sure that I wanted to go into an industry before just jumping right in. So, I mean, a lot of kids out of college are going to college. Maybe they do want to be a doctor or a lawyer. Well, what happens if they don't know anyone who's a lawyer, right? And so what are you going to spend 3 years going ahead and going to law school and then find out you hate it and then you're a couple $100K in debt and then you're unhappy versus actually spending a little bit of time. Like I said, I spent a couple hours one day, and usually I'd shadow 3 guys back to back. So I usually shadow 3 guys in one day, spend 5 or 6 hours. I built my network doing that, kind of like what you're doing now, building a network. And what the worst thing that happens is, oh, wow, I met a guy who might be able to help me in the future, But the best thing that can happen is like, hey, I don't like what he does, so I want to make sure I don't go into that getting out of school. So I think it's just making sure you prepare yourself.
Love it. It's the value of the intangible. Love it. Well, amazing audience. You're hearing it live here from Austin Peek. Again, he is the podcast host of Millionaire Interviews. Do check that out. Amazing conversations going on right there. Austin, let's switch gears for a moment. Let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Austin, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Man, I'm trying to think of it, but I'm sure it was seeing my mother, but I can't picture it right now. I'm trying my best. Now I'm getting old age, so it's hard for me to envision it.
Are you speaking about seeing your mother for the first time?
Yeah, no, I imagine that would be my first memory, but I can't recollect it right now. I don't know what age you start remembering your childhood memories, so hard for me to say.
Yeah. So if you stop focusing on that particular memory and just go back to the memory that pops up most recollected in your mind, what memory is that?
True. I mean, I can think all the way back to kindergarten and stuff. I mean, so some of the friends actually I met even in kindergarten, I'm still friends with today. So I don't know, you're probably 5 or 6 years old at that age. So
Yeah.
it's funny to think about those, just it's like a screenshot or whatever in my mind where I remember meeting a couple of my buddies and still friends with them today.
That's intriguing. All right. How do you see that memory connecting to who you are today?
How does it connect with me today?
Yeah, that screenshot.
Uh, I don't know if it's not necessarily that first memory. I mean, everyone's built by whatever they've been through, right? So there's been certain things that I've been through. I brought up earlier when my boss said I wouldn't succeed, right? I can remember that like it was yesterday. So when those type of memories, I always try to take those negative, energy or memories that you have and try to use it positively to drive me. So again, it's not always the earliest memory. I think I'm just really good at remembering the bad stuff, which is good because it drives me. It's not, so I guess that's the best way I could answer it.
I find it interesting though that the memory that popped up right there is you and your friendships. It seems to me that has been the one thing constant right through your life, like the relationships. The relationships with your parents that created the hard work ethic in you, the relationships with those that you were shadowing, for instance, the relationships that you still have, even with those that you met in kindergarten. I find it pretty connective, if you would.
Yeah. I mean, is that what you find through a lot of the people that you talk to?
Well, what I've found with a lot of people that I speak to is it's very possible to connect that earliest childhood memory, in ways throughout their life to who they are now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is what I find. Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, no, like I said, I can pull stuff from high school or whatever, but yeah, those different type of memories and what drove me to hopefully be successful. And
It's all good.
yeah.
It's all good. If we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
I've been looking at a lot of songs because I'm actually about to get married in a couple of days.
Wow, congratulations.
I know she's a lucky girl. I tell her every day. So,
Obviously, she hasn't had a peek into who you are.
yeah, I know. Or else she wouldn't marry me. So everyone thinks she's smart, but I said she can't be that smart if she's marrying me. But I'd say Bop by Hanson.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, love it. Austin's skin is pretty thick, folks. Believe me.
Yeah, you can't hurt this. Don't worry.
Well, Austin, we've arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Austin, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Hopefully the people that are my virtual assistants.
Are you married? Well, yeah,
Almost.
you could say
A couple days.
Yeah. Hopefully she doesn't turn around, but I don't think she would. You're
Yeah.
a great guy. Do you have children?
No.
Do you believe in God?
I believe in a higher power.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
I have it on the background sometimes just because I work from home, but it's mainly just to hear something. I definitely don't watch all the TV shows that everyone does.
All right. What about screen time, the phone and the computer? More than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Definitely more than 8.
If you had to share with us your own unique real statement, the statement that represents who Austin Peek is, what would you say that is?
Driven.
Love it. Austin, this was a great pleasure, my friend. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Yeah, was this the best 12-minute conversation you've ever had?
Boom! It's registered right up there with the others.
But yeah, no, I just hopefully your podcast, we appreciate you doing that so you can reach other people and hopefully inspire them.
Yeah, most definitely. That they get a peek into who they are and that they create a brand of their own unique real self.
And yeah, I wish I had a good deep voice like you, and then maybe I'd be a little
We
bit
could
better.
practice. We could practice. You could come to the Caribbean and get some sugar cane, and we could do some work on that.
Sounds good.
Love it. Austin Peek, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.